All right, it says it's live. Hey there. Welcome, everybody, once again to Astronomy Daily Live. It's 2 hours UTC, and it's once again to gather together this ever-growing group of friends who get together daily, weekly, monthly, whichever you like. Get together and think and talk all things astronomy and space and science and nerdy things of all sorts. So, forget about everything else for a little while, at least if you can, and sit down, relax, grab your favorite consumable of choice here. I've got the dihydrogen monoxide tonight, so it's sort of a special occasion, right? It's sort of a special occasion in that this is the live stream for February 2nd, 2019, which at least in the United States here is officially called Groundhog Day. Groundhog Day, and that has a particular thing, but I really like this date. It's got a lot of sort of symbolic significance, I've just always liked this particular day. The number 2 is the only number that is both a prime number and an even number. So this is, February 2nd, 2-2, right? So that's just kind of neat. The first real astronomy job I ever had actually didn't exactly start on February 2nd, because at that time I think that was a Sunday, so it started on February 3rd. So I sort of connect those two things, so yeah, I think Groundhog Day is probably behind the solstices and on the equinoxes. I think Groundhog Day is probably my 5th favorite day of the year. So out of the 365 days, this is number 5. So yeah, it's just a fun day, and it's just sort of personally significant. I think for most people and for the rest of the world, it's just another day, right? Just another day, but that's cool. I have no problem with that. I think that more people should choose sort of special days out of the year that they just sort of mark and say, yeah, this is my special day, and notice that each year and all that. I think that's great fun, right? Speaking of great fun, I see that Bobby is back on the panel again. Hey, what's going on?
Hey, what's up? We're still waiting on Jill. So I texted Jill's on Facebook and find out if he's going to be coming or so. But I'd like to really, if he's going to be watching it later, just in case he forgets, I do have some kind of more of like a rant I want to share.
A rant?
Yeah, and it's about the like how one of the programs I love to listen to on shortwave, that the way the program works is they transmit digital text and images using traditional AM, which is shortwave transmitters, and all we gotta do is use special decoders to receive them. So that program, it's called Shortwave Radiogram, had a competition with Texan, one of the best radio makers that you could have in the world. You can win a prize pack and a Texan PL 880.
Wow. Wow.
Okay. So for an average radiogram decoder or receiver will for sure we either would use just at least one portable receiver with an Android tablet, or you could always use an SDR and a tabletop receiver and a software called FLDigi. And so well, we use a dedicated receiver for sure and a dedicated device to get the text and images. Okay, that dude from Italy won the competition. But what really gets me is I think I don't know how many freaking receivers he used, probably just a crap load of receivers and a crap load of antennas. And what's also kind of a bit crazy is he was on the expedition in Spain, and he's from Italy. So it's how in the flip can you have a crap load of receivers and a crap load of antennas? Well, we pretty much I got a long wire and an SDR play that I always use for shortwave, okay? And it's dude, you just gave somebody that is pretty much rich, and you just let the poor man drive. I'm sorry.
Yeah. They, I mean, look, they set the rules, right? They set the rules, and now my question is, did this person follow the rules, right? Did he break any rules at all? At least current rules?
Nah, I don't think so.
Probably not, right? So, what'll happen, right, is I mean, they will hear, complaints, right? And, the contest makers might have to modify, the rules a little bit. So that's all. But yeah. It's I know what you're saying. But yeah. I mean, those, the parameters of this contest were set out probably a little too loosely, right? And he found a way in, and yeah, that's all. It's what do they say? All's fair in love and war, right? So yeah. So yeah, they may have to change the parameters of the rules, or set up different contests, right? It's a contest for this and a contest for this and this and this and this. So yeah, for those of you who don't know, Bobby here is really into radio, and so I definitely like to hear about those kinds of things too. I am definitely not that much leaning towards the radio thing, but I certainly like to hear about all those things. It's incredibly nerdy, right? And the only radio thing that I'm really interested in is doing radio observations. Actually, constructing a radio telescope and making some observations with that. Being a visual astronomer my entire life, right? I've had to deal with two two big things, right? I've had to deal with blue skies and cloudy skies, right? Radio astronomers don't care whether it's day or night, right? They don't care, right? They also don't care much if it's cloudy, right? Because those radio waves go right through all that stuff, right? And to a radio astronomer, blue sky, daylight sky, is completely black, right? It's completely dark all the time. There are, some relatively bright radio sources up in the sky. There's the sun, right, which is really, really bright. There is the moon, which is just reflected sunlight. There is Jupiter, which is pretty bright, The brightest extrasolar object, right, beyond our little solar system, is a supernova remnant called Cassiopeia A, and of course it's in the constellation of Cassiopeia, and it's pretty bright with radio light. I don't know exactly what the numbers are because I've never investigated all that much. But that is definitely an area that I would like to get into at some point. Just I just haven't yet. So
well, maybe I'm just being like more like Kanye West whenever Taylor Swift won a Grammy and stuff, and he like ranted on her and stuff like that. I think that was like 1 year and stuff.
I think that you have sort of an honest gripe, right? You have an honest complaint that you should definitely, voice, let these people know, what you saw going on, and they, if they're reasonable, right, they'll be like, okay, well, we need to sort of change the parameters of this a little bit, right? Because if somebody has, lots of equipment and sort of the best equipment, they're going to have an advantage over somebody, who just has like a coat hanger, sticking out their window, right? So that sounds, like a good complaint to make. I don't, you don't have to be mean about it or anything. You just say, it's like, hey, these are the circumstances, and I don't think that's, all that fair, and see what they do, right? If they're reasonable and want to sort of, promote this, then, they'll change the rules, or they'll make up a new kind of contest or whatever, right? So I think it's great. But it's definitely not incredibly fair, but, given the parameters of the contest, he won, right? So he gets more toys. And the rest of you just have to sit there and just sort of gripe about it. So yeah.
And just maybe weep and gnash and stuff like you was like wanted to do when I got these.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's cool. So, all right. Well, good. Well, I hope everybody else is doing well out there, having a lot of excitement. As I said, it's February 2nd here, sort of officially Groundhog Day. So that's always fun. I'm probably going to sit back and watch the movie sometime tomorrow, because hello, because for me, I'm actually 7 hours behind UTC. So here in southeastern Arizona, it's 7:15 p.m. on the 1st still. Now, I don't think that you should be chewing on that.
Oh no, not a flash drive. Why a flash drive?
I don't think that you should be chewing on that. I really don't think so.
Oh my gosh, that's even worse if he was chewing on a wire of a toy you just freaking brought.
Yeah. No, she doesn't chew very hard or anything. So if she wants, to chew on that a little bit, that's okay. But
I mean, I had a plug and play game that I just brought from a flea market, okay?
uh-huh.
3 freaking hours later, I was just playing about a few games. I think it may have maybe 20 or 40, and I just probably made 3 or 6. That my dog just chewed on that wire, and I was ready to crack, ready to
crush him,
just trash and stuff.
Yes. Well, doggies are really, really, really good at destroying things. Kitties just like to knock things on the ground, right? Look at that face. Look at that. Man, she really thinks that she's pretty hot stuff, huh?
Let me full frame it and stuff. And it's like, okay, I can see that guilty face for sure.
Yeah. For sure. So, all right, well, cool. I wanted to follow up a little bit on yesterday's object of the day. I think we were looking at NGC 2655, and during the live stream, right at the end there, we were looking at some pictures taken by Halton Arp back in 1966, and we looked at one of the pictures, right? And I wasn't too sure that was actually the galaxy or not. So actually, right after the live stream, I took a little more careful look at the table, that actually showed the NGC number and then what photographic plate that was on. And I did confirm that was the correct plate. And I was also able to match up the star patterns on there too. So yeah, just as a confirmation there that that actually was NGC 2655 that we were looking at yesterday. A very, very well studied object. Yeah, definitely worth.
So going back to flash drives, they are Alchemist ruined. Flash drives are hardy. I still have some working that I found in the dry clean machine years ago.
Yeah. Look at that one. That one still works too. Still works. You can see, I don't know if you can or not, but can try to focus in here. It's probably not going to focus, but yeah. Anyway, that one, it was, sitting in my computer like that, right? And well, like that. And I walked by it and I bumped into it, right? Just whammo, right? And it went like that. I'm like, oh no, it's gone, right? It's gone, right? But no, it still works. It still works just fine. So yeah, these things are pretty
tough. My friend was telling me when he had one of those Chromecasters. and he was just moving the TV around. And he forgot the Chromecast was still connected to the TV,
Uh-huh.
and like the connector just bent, and he broke the Chromecast right off the spot. And he was like, "Damn."
Damn. Yeah. Yes, this is a right angle thumb drive. Actually, not quite a right angle, right? It's like a 60-degree angle.
Now, do you
So,
think a good tearing down and a good soldering will be able to fix it for sure?
you know, here's my attitude about these kinds of things. If it ain't broken, don't fix it. So this works just fine. I, put it in. It makes it a little unique, right? A little unique. Nobody else has one of these. All right, well, cool. So let's
And I'd
see.
like to know what's easier to fix: television with a CRT or television that has that LCD or LED and stuff.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I don't know. I hardly know anything about either of those. So
All I
don't
can
ask
know,
don't ask me.
I can pretty much can fix a CRT television
Hmm.
and a desktop tower. But don't get me if I have to like do an AIO or my LED TV.
Yeah, yeah. I'm in almost exactly the same boat. So yeah, that's unfortunately that's sort of beyond me. So sure it can be done, but yeah, don't know. So yeah, I was looking a little bit more into this putting a telescope on the moon project, and it's kind of interesting. There's this there's a group. It's called the International Lunar Observatory Association, ILOA. So if you go to ILOA dot, I think it's org, they have a site. But they're really, it's there's not a lot of information. There's not a lot of detail. Um, I mean, it looks like they have plans to send up a telescope on Moon Express, right? And Moon Express is this spacecraft that is supposed to be launched this year, right? This year by a Rocket Lab rocket. All right, so a Rocket Lab rocket is going to launch Moon Express, and one of the payloads on Moon Express is this telescope, right? Supposedly, right? And but I'm really not able to find a lot of technical information about it. Now, this is a private thing, right? I mean, it's not a government-run project or anything. So, okay, they're not going to disclose, all their, uh, big plans or anything. But ILOA is a nonprofit, right? It's a 501c3, as they say. Which I think means that their documentation is public. So I try to get a hold of these folks. It's been a couple weeks now, a couple weeks ago, and so I sent them, a really quick email saying hi. I'd like to hear more, and maybe even get involved, right? Because I'm extremely interested in putting something on the moon, not only to provide a live video cast of a lunar eclipse, But I also want to put a telescope up there, a sizable one. I mean, like that size, right? Up there, you know, to do science, right? You know, to collect data for scientific investigation.
Did you just use a shrink ray to make the telescope bigger, or you just like move it closer to the camera?
What do you think about that? Yes, it's doubled in size. It's doubled in size overnight. I now have a 16-inch telescope. You noticed that, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, what the crap?
Yeah, no, it just moved. It just moved a little closer. So yeah, I got a hold of these. Well, I sent an email to ILOA. It's been a couple weeks, and after a week of no response at all, I sent them a second email saying, you know, hello, are you there? Are you there? Got a message back right away, really short, saying, yes, we're here. Hello. That's all. Here, I'm going to focus this. Sorry, you're going to see my dirty hands for a second. There we go. All right. Patrick Manny, this one right there, that's a 5-inch Celestron that was gifted to me. It's been a few weeks now or so. Yeah, pretty interesting story with that one. But yeah, that's a Celestron 5-inch telescope that I received as a gift. And don't really know what I'm going to be doing with it yet. Definitely, hopefully, I'm going to be doing the same kind of thing, and that is, collecting data, to do some kind of scientific research. But yeah, I don't know exactly what yet. There are lots of possibilities. One that actually comes to mind is to actually turn this into a spectroscope. So instead of actually taking images of things, I would take spectra of those things and actually do the analysis of the spectra instead. So yeah, that's a possibility. There's a possibility of putting some kind of a CMOS camera on here and doing some live streaming with that. Just sort of doing what lots of others are doing in terms of just looking at different kinds of objects and stuff. I don't find that incredibly interesting. So that's a possibility, but it's pretty remote. So yeah, really don't know. I did take this out when I first got it, put it under the sky, put an eyepiece on it, and took a look, and the optics are very good. The quality of the images was excellent. The pointing and the tracking is adequate. So yeah, don't really know though what I'm going to do with it yet. So at the moment, it's just sort of sitting there. So definitely going to put it to work though. It is. I mean, it can sit there for now, and actually, it came with a nice big case, with the foam inside and all that kind of stuff, and it's probably sat in that case for at least several years or so. So I thought at least I could, take it out of the case and let it see some light. But yeah, works great. The as you can tell, it's actually taller right now than my C8, and that's, you know, primarily because of the tripod. You know, the tripod is a little bit taller. So, but yeah, like I said, I don't exactly know what I'm going to do with it yet, but I am definitely going to put it to work for sure. And I think pretty high on the list is to do, you know, some kind of spectroscopy with it. I think that would be very, very cool. And spectroscopy is really, really, really nice. You can learn a lot about objects by looking at their spectrum. You know, not only can you tell what these objects are made of, but you can also determine various conditions, right? Like temperature, like how it's moving, all kinds of things. So yeah, that's probably top of the list at the moment. I mean, if nothing else, I'm going to put a CCD camera on that thing and do photometric stuff, you know, just like I'm trying to do with this beast. So yeah, that was very, very cool. Anyway, so yeah, I've kind of gotten a coldish reception so far from the Lunar Observatory folks. So you know, I mean, that's fine, no problem at all. But you know, I'm looking at this, and I mean, this is a very, very, very doable project, right? All the complicated elements, those problems have been solved, right? There is there's the launch, right? You got to put it on a rocket, launch it. Well, we know how, you know, to do that. The telescope, you know, that I'm sort of envisioning right now is actually probably sort of two different ones. One is sort of like a telephoto lens, and that would have some kind of a video camera on it that could sort of zoom in on the Earth during these lunar eclipses, right? And then I'd have a second telescope about this size in a CubeSat, right? I mean, basically, you know, the size of a CubeSat, you know, about that big or so. So, you know, launching it, okay, we can do that. You know, we've done that already. Landing it on the surface of the moon, we know how to do that too, right? And the Chinese just did it a couple of months ago, and prior to that, they actually landed landed on the moon that has a telescope on it, and that was back in like 2014, and that telescope is still running, right? They are still getting, apparently at least, they are still getting data from that telescope. Now, radio communications, right? That's sort of a complication, right? But once again, you know, the Chinese are doing it right now. We also have the lunar reconnaissance spacecraft going around the moon right now, sending back gigabytes of data every single day, right? So you know, all the hard stuff has been solved, right? it's sort of, I mean, and maybe I'm being extremely naive, right? Which is actually an advantage when it comes to doing difficult things. But it seems to me like all the hard stuff, all the hard problems to solve have been solved, right? And even if we don't know exactly what the details of the solution are, the simple fact that we know that these things have already happened means that they can be done, right? So I'm pretty enthused about that, and I'm there's going to be a really awesome lunar eclipse in May of 2021, and from the moon, right? If the system was on the moon looking at the Earth, right, and the Earth, of course, is going to be passing in front of the sun, right? Well, the location of that event is going to be right in between the star clusters, the Hyades and the Pleiades. It's going to be right in between those two. I think that would be a great view, right? That would be really awesome to be able to see live. I think that would be great. With the Earth, which is actually 2 degrees in size from the moon, right? That is 16 times the area of the moon, right? So 16 times as big as the full moon, right? This big, huge black ball, which you'll probably be able to see actually city lights, because that, of course, is the night side of the Earth, right? So you'll probably be able to see some city lights, right? There, and then I'm still not exactly sure what it would look like, but there would be this ring, right? This ring of light all the way around the Earth that has sort of the colors of the sunset. Very brilliant, really bright sunset colors as the sunlight, of course, is passing through the atmosphere of the Earth, going through all that light. Blue light is being scattered, and so all you're left with is sort of this red. And of course, from Earth, when you look at a lunar eclipse, what you see is a blood red moon, right? And that's because of this really bright red light that is coming from the Earth, right? So I think that's $1 million view at least, right? That I think would capture the imagination of a large portion of the population of this planet, right? It only lasts about an hour, right? But that would be a very fun hour. And look, the clock is ticking, right? We have less than 2.5 years to get this done, right? Now, is this going to happen in a couple years? Well, you know what? It could. Since all this has already been done before, right? The only thing that is stopping anybody from doing it is the will to do so, right? That's it, right? If you want to, you can do it. Being able to pay for it, and a lot of the details in terms of getting all the technical things done. How are you going to land it? How are you going to point it? How are you going to do this? How are you going to do that? Well, we can work all that out, right? And all that, I mean, those answers are out there already. So, I mean, we don't have to come up with anything new. We just sort of have to put all the pieces together, launch it, land it, deploy it, and we're done. And see, you know, these lunar eclipses, you know, we'll be able to observe those just a couple times each year, right? But for the rest of the time, if you have a telescope like this, sitting on the moon, right, you can grab some great data for science, right? And it is going to be wanted. It is definitely going to be wanted as long as it's working, right? You know, I think it'd be great, right? And it's kind of neat too because of the rotation of the moon, right? The moon rotates once every month, right? So every 29 days. So, well, what that means, right, is that the moon rotates 29 times slower than the Earth does, right? So you can actually sit on a target for long periods of time, days and days and days, right? Up to 2 weeks, right? You can sit on the same target and watch it. You know, spacecraft these days going around the Earth, they have maximum of 45 minutes at a time, right? Because then, of course, you know, the Earth gets in the way. Now, there are some spacecraft that you know, have situated their orbits such, you know, that they can continuously observe things, like the sun synchronous satellites. Um, those are satellites that are in a polar orbit going around the Earth. And they're always able to look at the sun, or almost always able to look at the sun. You know, they have continuous coverage. But telescopes like the HST, you know, the Hubble telescope, they have a 90-minute orbit, right? So the longest continuous observation that telescope can make is 45 minutes, right? And that's the absolute longest. Maybe, you know, because of the inclination and all that, you know, might be plus or minus a few minutes there. But generally speaking, you know, that's as long as you can observe a single object. And then you either have to wait or you have to go on to something else, right? So, but with a lunar telescope, I've got some shenanigans going on here behind me here. um, uh, yeah, I think the possibilities there are you know, as good as an orbiting spacecraft, because you don't have any of the distortions of the atmosphere to deal with, right? So it's nice, um, perfectly clear, sharp things. You know, you worry about temperatures, right? Because it's going to go from being really hot to being really cold for, you know, extended periods of time. Well, you know, the Chinese again have shown that a lander can survive that and do just fine, right? And telescopes like the HST, right, while they aren't in sunlight, you know, for 2 weeks at a time, they are in sunlight 45 minutes at a time. So they have to deal with extreme hot and extreme cold. And I would think that duty cycle would actually be a little bit more rough on a spacecraft than having, you know, continuously, you know, for 2 weeks bombarded with sunlight, and then for 2 weeks be in the dark. Um, I think that actually might be an easier thing um, to deal with. And like I said, that problem has been solved, right? The Chinese are doing that right now. We had seismometers on the moon for long periods of time. We have retroreflectors on the moon right now that have been up there for 50 years, right? And I think those are still in use today, right? Now, I mean, a retroreflector just, sitting there on the surface of the moon uh, isn't exactly the same as some kind of telescope on the moon, but the environmental um, um, conditions are sort of the same, right? You've got dust accumulation, you have these extremes of heat and cold, all of that. So I mean, nothing that I'm suggesting is even new, right? All of this has been done. I'm just saying that I think that somebody should do it. Um, okay, well, cool, Tom. Yeah. So all all these things, like I said, there's nothing new here at all. It's just a matter of wanting to do it, and I I think the time is ripe. And as a motivating factor, right, you have this opportunity to observe these lunar eclipses, which I think would be absolutely fantastic to see. I think that a lot of people would want to see that, right? You can make posters of it later, and the whole thing, right? Um,
I'm not sure what your cat wants. He's right by the door.
oh, he probably wants me to provide the door opening service. So should I go do that? All right, I'll go do that. I'll be right back in.
Okay. So 10 seconds. Wow.
There we are. All right, cool. All right. As they say, the cat is now out of the bag. So yeah, I'm not quite sure what's up with this lunar observatory group. Shenanigans, yes. Even the manufacturer of the telescope, right, hasn't given any kind of update since 2014, right? So I mean, they can do what they want to do, right? But I would think that they would want to talk about this a little bit, or when there's a request for more technical information, to provide it, right? And it's like nothing, just absolute silence. I did get a response from them, and their response was, well, when we have news, we'll let you know. And that's it, right? Well, they're supposed to be launching this year. So, I mean, if they're launching this year, right, that means that all the hardware is built, right? Everything's done, right? They might have to, be in some kind of testing mode or something, but the
Why
lander.
privatize or hide something that you first made public and not do like any updates and stuff? Have anybody forgotten that they have a website or something?
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. You know, I mean, I I
I mean,
don't
what's the
think,
point of building a website if you're not going to provide any updates and stuff? That's my 2 cents.
yeah. Well, you know, um, they um, they provided their last update, which and all their updates are extremely brief, just like really brief. Was sometime in 2017. Um, they have these technical um, documents, which aren't technical at all. Um, and I think the latest one of those is from 2012. So, you know, I'm not exactly sure what what these folks are doing, right? So, and you know, I don't really care, but you know, I mean, you know, um, my attitude is that you know I've got an interest in this, right? And so I look around and I say, okay, is anybody else doing this? Right? Because if somebody is doing this already, I would much rather jump onto that train, right? The train's already leaving the station, it's moving, right? So I would like to jump onto that train, right? Instead of having to, you know, build my own train, get it running, and get it going, right? I mean, I suppose I can do that, but yeah. So I'm not exactly sure what these folks are doing. Uh, don't know, don't know. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see. I'm gonna send them a third email with some questions. Right, I'm creating sort of a list of questions, and you know, I think if nothing else, that'll show them that you know I'm sort of legit, right? You know, because I mean, right now, you know, they're probably like, you know, who is this guy, right? Who knows, right? You know, it's just some Yahoo, right? Um, you know, if I send them some questions, I actually did send them my resume though. So I mean, you know, they know that I'm not, you know, just you know, some Joe Schmo of sorts. I mean, I'm not much more than a Joe Schmo, but I'm maybe a little tiny bit more than that. You know, I've got a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of experience. Um, but yeah, I think, you know, if I sort of blast them um, with some questions, right? Then, well, you know, hopefully for me, they'll answer them, right? Um, and um, yeah, yeah, I'm the cosmic schmo. Yeah, and they will see from those questions that you know at least I'm thinking about this, right? The only information that I have in here, I'll share it with you. This is actually on Wikipedia. Um, let me. We can actually go to the Wikipedia page. I copied it. Here, let's go over here, and we'll go to Google, and we'll International Lunar Observatory Association, and we'll go to their Wikipedia page. Okay, so I'll share my screen here. So sharing the screen, going to infinity. Woohoo! There we go.
To infinity and beyond.
To infinity and beyond. Where is my? There it is. Okay, so International Lunar Observatory, right? So over here, you know, Wikipedia pages, they always have sort of, you know, the basic info, right? So there's the International Lunar Observatory Association. Okay, it's going to be on Moon Express, right? 2 kilograms, right? It's going to be launched by Rocket Lab. Launch date 2019, right? It's a Schmidt-Cass 7 centimeters, 7-centimeter telescope with a 6.4 megapixel camera, I guess, of some sort, visible camera. And I'm not exactly sure if this is like, I guess this is transmitted power, right? So 5 watts. They're going to have the deep space network to collect this data, right? They're not going to be able to just set up a long wire in their backyard and pick this up, right? They're going to need a big dish at that power, right? So yeah, they even say here, it's about the size of a shoebox, right? Which it's like, size doesn't really matter all that much, right? But I gotta say, 7 centimeters is a little small. Right? That's almost 3 inches or so. So it's a little small, I would say. But yeah, the Mars Express is, or I'm sorry, the Moon Express is landing near the South Pole of the Moon. And yeah, here's the manufacturer, right? Canada Sense. And if you go to their site, right, this is what it says, right? But here's the date of their latest news, right? 1st of July, 2014, right? This is the latest information, right? Is what, 4.5 years old? Is that right? 3.5, 4.5. So yeah, there's no new information about this. So has it been built? Right? They're talking about a partnership, right, to develop this, but has it been done? I don't know. Don't have a clue. So yeah, don't know. It's a lot of this is just old information, right? So we really don't know a lot. And they're a little ambiguous on what they want to do, right? They want to conduct astrophysical observations. It's like, is there a chance that we can be maybe a little more specific? So yeah, if anybody watching this has any other information on this project, I'm extremely interested in this, right? I mean, if nothing else, just to watch the progress, right? So yeah, if anybody has any info on this project, shoot me an email, cosmiclattice@gmail.com. Because yeah, like I just said, at a minimum, I'd like to find out more about what they're doing, and if possible, I would love to jump on this train, right? I'm not too enthusiastic about this size of a telescope, and I'm not too enthusiastic about what they might want to be doing. This, I mean, this is a Wikipedia page, right? But there's actually more information here than on their site, right?
And Tom Scudder would be saying he would be concerned about that last update.
Yeah, right. It's like, why was that so long ago, right? We can actually go to the ILOA site, right? So they have, actually it's an update from January of 2018, right? But they have been working on this for over 10 years, right? They've been, and I mean, that to me is almost a red flag, right? It's like, are you talking about it or are you doing something, right? Because it's really, really, really easy to blow hot air, right?
I agree.
Yeah, maybe I should call them.
I mean, like if they were like really doing something about it, then they like should have like for sure like launched take a they say on the Wikipedia page in 2008. I would definitely, if they were really are working on it for sure, I would be like launching it like no later than 2009 or 2010.
Well, I mean, I'm not aware of what the complications are, right? I mean, I'm looking at this from a very, very ignorant point of view, right? I don't know exactly what's involved. I don't know what has to be done, right? The only thing that I do know for sure is that all the pieces that go into doing this kind of thing have already been done. So it's not as if they have to come up, with anything new, right? We know how to land on the moon. We know how to put a telescope on the moon. So it's like, what exactly is the complication here? But all of this stuff, as far as I'm concerned, is just blowing a lot of hot air, right? And here are the studies that were done. Okay, the 2012 2013 Rapid Development Program Phase 3 is in progress, and it's like, really? I mean, what's happened since then, right? So that's what I asked.
I would be like really, really mad and stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean, if these guys are just blowing a bunch of hot air and stuff, I'm gonna know that really, really soon, right? Because like I said, I think I'm gonna throw some questions at them, and I'll see how they answer, right? So far, right? I mean, I've asked them, to send me, technical documents on, what's going on, and their response was, when there's something new, we'll let you know. It's like, okay, all right. But yeah,
okay.
But they've been looking at this thing.
That will definitely really make you like say that is fake.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, they have these deals with Rocket Lab, and Moon Express, right? Moon Express supposedly, is really going to the moon, right? And Rocket.
Let's say like the reason why we have like a very long delay It's because they're trying to find like the providers and stuff like that. Who's going to launch it? Who's going to land it and stuff. If that is true, then I can understand that.
Well, no, but they already have, okay, Moon Express. Moon Express is a lander that is being launched by Rocket Lab this year, right? And that telescope is supposed to be on Moon Express, right? So, I mean, in theory, this is happening, but there's just no information about it at all, right? So I'm just confused, right? I mean,
So is it like say this is probably where you say it's about time or it's not about time?
well, and that's just it. I mean, you know, I'm extremely interested in putting a telescope on the moon, right? I think it'd be very, very cool, and it's doable, right? Like I've said, there is nothing new there at all, right? I mean, all of that has already been done, so I wouldn't have to do anything new, right? I just sort of have to put all the pieces together, right? I've got to find, you know, somebody to make all this stuff, um, um, somebody to launch it, somebody to land it, um, make sure all the communications, you know, all of that, right? I mean, it's not an easy task. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm just saying it's been done, right? It's all been done. So let's go do it. And I have a motivation, and that is I want to see a lunar eclipse. I want to see a live lunar eclipse, preferably the one in 2021, because that one is going to be framed in the sky really, really, really nicely. Really, really cool. So, you know, I have a motivation too. And also, you know, in general, right, I want to see more space telescopes. You know, having one up there right now, it's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. That you know, the Hubble Space Telescope is so oversubscribed, right? There, I don't exactly know what the ratio is, but I have heard that it's like something like 1,000 to 1, right? So for every 1,000 proposals that are made, one gets picked, right? Now that's probably an exaggeration, but I would think that, you know, 1 out of 100, easy, right? So, but look, if you had 100 of them up there, then you wouldn't have to say no to anybody, right? So let's put more telescopes out in space, you know, get them out of the atmosphere, get them away from Earth, so you have a chance, you know, to do these long exposures, right? I mean, even on the ground. Well, you know, the ground is great, but you have to put up with all of this silliness, right? Daylight, clouds, atmosphere, right? All this ridiculous stuff, right? I mean, even given that, you know, these great survey telescopes that are coming, all these transient observations and all that from the ground are really, really, really awesome. But you improve upon that so much by putting these out in space. And if you have an actual solid surface, right, and you can call it luna firma, right? It's luna firma. Um, then there's a lot of things that, you know, when you're a spacecraft in orbit, right, you've got all these degrees of freedom, right? You know, all the wobbling around and stuff. But when you're on luna firma, right, then you don't have to worry about a lot of those kinds of things, and you can just point to things just like you do here on Earth, right? You can have an alt-az mount if you want. That is perfectly fine, no problem at all. And there's advantages on the moon, like I said, because the rotation is so much slower. The sky, just doesn't change as fast as here on Earth. So yeah, there's lots lots of advantages, some problems too, but all those problems have been solved, right? We can deal with all of those. Anyway, all right, well, cool. Yeah, it's 3:10 UTC. Maybe I should get out of here, jump off of my soapbox of sorts. But yeah, I think that we need more space-based scopes in general. The astronomers want them, ground-based astronomy is definitely here to stay, and we're once again sort of just on the threshold of what is going to be an incredible new era, right? With these large telescopes coming online, larger telescopes coming online, all these survey telescopes that we have no idea what we're going to find, and that's a good motivation to do it, right? Hey there, Astro Live channel, by the way. So that's a great motivation, to do these larger telescopes and all the surveys and everything, because it's not the stuff that we know that we're going to be able to see. It's that stuff that we don't have a clue about, that we don't even know is happening yet, right? So that's great, but the astronomers want space-based telescopes, right? They want to be able to make long-term observations. They want to get out of the atmosphere so they can have the nicest, sharpest, clearest images and data that they can get, right? So let's do it, right? And I just think, that the moon is a nice platform to do that, because it's a nice, solid surface that solves a few of the problems of being, just a spacecraft out there in space. All right, well, with that, I'm going to get out of here. If anybody is really, really interested in this, I don't know how exactly committed I am at this point, but I would like to, pursue this to at least some end. At least do some kind of investigation. I'd like to actually write a white paper on this, which is just sort of a overview of sorts, looking at the various aspects, trying to list all the possible problems, and come up with some kind of answers to all of those, and write this paper, and send it out into the world and see what happens, right? And if the end result of that is some kind of a brick wall where it's like, can't be done, it shouldn't be done, all of that, fine, whatever, right? But I mean, there are some obstacles, right? But there aren't any showstoppers, right? There's nothing impossible here. So yeah, I think um, we should definitely do it. If you're interested in sort of teaming up and working on this, let me know. You can either contact me like via my Discord server, which I think there's a link in the description down below. You can send me an email, cosmiclettuce@gmail.com. But yeah, I'm going to be pursuing this, looking into this a little bit, and seeing what the obstacles are. Because I mean, one of the obstacles for me, for sure, is just sort of gaining an understanding of what's involved, right? I mean, I'm clueless, right? I have no idea what's involved in doing any of this kind of thing. Like I keep saying over and over again, though, everything is being done right now. So let's do it, right? Okay, well, cool. All right, for sure, I'm going to get out of here for now. It is 3:16 UTC. So hope everybody has a great evening, a great day. Groundhog Day, one of my special days. Yeah, for what it's worth, the groundhog either sees his shadow or doesn't. And I think how it goes is that if he sees his shadow, then there's 6 more weeks of winter. And if he doesn't see his shadow, then it's going to be an early spring. Now, yeah, whatever, whatever. Fine. As far as I'm concerned, spring always starts on March 21st. Regardless of what the groundhog sees, but yeah, I think that's kind of a fun thing, and it either makes everybody groan or everybody cheer. So that's fun. It's fun stuff. So all right, everybody, take care. Make sure to hit the thumbs up if you so desire. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and share this around. This channel is slowly growing. I don't have any ambitions in terms of size of viewership or that kind of thing. I'm here to share passion, and I think the rest will sort of take care of itself. So that's it. All right. Well, I will be back here tomorrow at 2 hours UTC, and feel free to join me if you so desire. All right. Take care, everybody. Peace, cheers, and all that. I will see you on the spin. Bye.
Later.